Hi again, welcome back to UK Fatman. And today I'm going on location of a film called Fish Tank. It's a film that's quite close to my heart because most of the locations are in and around where I live. Now, if you haven't heard of the film, it's quite a highly rated film. Very, strong with critics and the viewing public alike. And it was written and directed by a lady called Andrea Arnold, who, until I watched the film, I'd never actually heard of. And so obviously for the purposes of the video, do some research. So when you look at her career, it's quite interesting because she actually started off as an actress on Saturday morning TV in the UK and then went on to direct a number of films, not many. Fish Tank and Wuthering Heights are probably the two main films that she's directed, and a couple of TV series, which includes a TV series which is really highly rated, Big Little Lies with Nicole Kidman. I've never seen it. Nicole Kidman, I think Renée Zellweger's in it as well. But Fish Tank is the only film I've seen that she's written and directed, and it did really well actually in terms of on a small budget, £3 million, won a BAFTA, won a couple of other awards, an award at Cannes. The main actress that we'll talk about, she won a few awards as well. So I was quite interested, Andrea, and couldn't help thinking that I'd seen her before. I wasn't quite sure where, but when I saw a picture, a name kind of rang a bell. So I did a bit more research, and strangely it took me to Saturday morning TV in the 70s and 80s, which was dominated on BBC One by a show called Swap Shop, quite conservative, very inoffensive. And then on ITV, which was the independent TV, was a show called Was, which was a bit more, let's say, boisterous, archaic, a little bit more, close to the edge. And after Was finished, or whilst Was was running, and then, in certain regions, they started showing a new Saturday morning TV show called Number 73. And it was originally aired on TVS, a regional show, but then when Was finished, it went national, and Andrea Arnold played the character of Dawn in this Saturday morning TV show. Dawn was a roller skating young girl, dancing, happy, everything that you'd want on a Saturday morning. But our protagonist in Fish Tank is called Mia, and she's played by Katie Jarvis. Now, interestingly, Katie had never acted before Fish Tank and was actually spotted arguing with her boyfriend at the train station by someone on the production company. And I think her story's perhaps a little bit sadder. She clearly got a lot of rave reviews for Fish Tank, and rightly so, but hasn't really been massively active since Fish Tank. She got quite a few awards. You can see here she got certain awards for Edinburgh International Film Festival, Best Performance in a British Film, Promising Newcomer. And to be fair to her, she did go on and she starred in what is the UK's one of the UK's biggest soap operas, EastEnders, where she played a boisterous character. I don't know too much about EastEnders. I should have done some research on this, but unfortunately, once she left EastEnders, things did seem to kind of go downhill. This is a clip of her in 2019 at the age of 30. She's looking, to be honest, quite rough. And then last year was arrested for a racially aggravated assault in Southend-on-Sea, which is also in Essex in the UK. So hopefully any problems she has got, she sorts out soon. Because if you watch the film, you'll see it's an absolutely fantastic performance. And so in the film, Michael Fassbender, the German-Irish actor, plays the role of Creepy Connor. And, true Hollywood star, but started his career in soaps like Holby City, again, shot in England. And I think he did quite a lot of theatre in London. Went on to have a kind of minor role in the Fantastic Band of Brothers, but then obviously rose to real stardom, was Oscar nominated twice, once as Best Leading Actor in the film Steve Jobs, and then again as Best Supporting Actor in the film 12 Years a Slave. So he's taken on various different roles, perhaps a bit surprising that he's in such a low budget independent film, given he's, been also featured in the X-Men franchise. But in 2009, when Fish Tank came out, he also appeared in that absolutely unforgettable scene in the French cafe in Inglourious Bastards.
So the film starts on an Essex housing estate where Mia lives with her mum and her sister. And I had a bit of trouble at first trying to find this location. On the internet movie database, it said Roman Close. And this has clearly gone through some massive redevelopment since the film was filmed in 2009. Because Mia is seen on this housing estate throwing stones up at a friend's window. And Mia clearly, she doesn't have any friends, or whatever friends she's got, she seems to have rows with. Her mum's a alcoholic, tarty type who just abuses her, and actually later on in the film tells her that she was actually booked in to have an abortion, so a nice piece of work there. But yeah, this is the first shooting location. They shot the film in chronological order, but it's now a place called Orchard Village, and obviously it looks a lot different in the 10 or so years since the film was shot. And you can actually see on Google Maps, there's a kind of little bit of a quirk in Google Maps, because if you're on the border of this street, of Roman Close and this new estate, it warps you from the old estate, which was right over here where they filmed the movie, and it warps you in time to the development going on.
And so we see in the film Mia spends her days drinking and dancing. She's clearly got aspirations of being anywhere but on this horrible Essex housing estate, and spends her time drinking ciders in some squat. And Mia goes out and comes across a gypsy site where there's a horse chained up, and initially she tries to free the horse and is attacked by a few gypsy boys, but eventually befriends a more kindlier gypsy boy, seems to take a bit of a shine to him. And as the film progresses, we see Mia's mum and Connor getting it on. Charming Connor takes them all out. Mia and her sister and her mum takes them out for a day down by a lake. But the water was cold. And it gets a bit creepy. She hurts her leg. She cuts her foot in the pond and seems to kind of have a bit of affection. Gets a bit close to Connor. And so later on, we see Mia attracted to an advert for dancers at a nightclub. She seeks out Connor, who works as a security guard at the Barking Wicks, which is a trade store. She tells Connor about the advert for dancers, and he quite encourages. He tells her she should go for it, and later on gives her a video camera, shows her how to work the camera so that she can film an audition tape. And, at this point, Connor's being friendly and charming, perhaps a father figure. And the father figure she probably desperately wants and needs in her life. So she takes the camera and goes off and shoots her audition tape.
Now, after recording her dance video for the audition and burning it onto disc, she buys some stamps from the post office and sees the gypsy boy that she made friends with earlier in the film in the shop, which was right over here, obviously not anymore, and she posts the video in a post box. And as I said, I wasn't quite sure I had the location right, but it's definitely the right location because the post box is pretty much around here, and she sees, as she's posting the letter, there was a sign saying Roman Close, and she sees the gypsy boy walking past this tree and then down Frederick Road, and chases him, catches up with him a bit further down the road.
And so then, soon after, one night, Mia's mum, comatose in bed drunk, Connor's in the lounge having a beer. They have a bit of chit chat, and of course, he then makes his move, gives us some encouraging words and sweet talk, but they get close, and Connor ends up having sex with the vulnerable 15-year-old Mia, who of course wakes up the next day, mum's crying, and Connor's done a runner.
And we see Mia coming out of the flat to chase Connor the morning after he's done his dirty deed, and chases him down the road, but obviously she misses him. So as Connor's walked out on them and her mum, so once Connor's had his wicked way and walked out on Mia's mum and done a runner, she obviously starts to try and track him down, give him what for, and she comes again to another one of my, seems to be, I keep coming back to Tilbury for filming locations. I did a Batman video, Batman Begins video at Tilbury, well, Coal House Fort, which is down the road, a Wonder Woman video at the Tilbury Ferry, and I'm back in Tilbury again. So in Fish Tank, Mia is looking for Connor, and she's tracked him down, she's going to go and see him, give him what for, I think, maybe tell his wife, you know, that Connor's been fucking around, not just with her mum, but with her as well. So here she goes, so she's walking across this bridge. So what's interesting is she comes down here, and then into Tilbury, onto Connor's estate. Signs changed. So despite the fact a minute ago we was just in Tilbury and saw Mia entering Tilbury, we are actually getting transported to Chadwell St Mary. So she zips into Chadwell St Mary. And not only is it a great film, but it just interests me because I actually rented a flat for 2 years just down there. And yeah, this is where she comes and she asks some guy for directions to Danton Road, which doesn't actually exist, but he gives her directions. Chadwell St Mary, another filming location, and you know, the fact I was living down there and Michael Fassbender was filming not a very big budget, but was a twice Oscar nominated Michael Fassbender was doing a film just down the road from where I was living. So even though she's looking for Danton Road, the film was actually filmed in Cole Avenue. So Connor, Michael Fassbender's character, the scenes for Mia going to his house, urinating on his floor, and then later returning to kidnap his young child, were all filmed here, Longfields Park, which is Cole Avenue. And as she comes in, she passes that girl, gives her a funny look, and then walks down to find Connor's house, which on IMDb says it's 231 Cole Avenue, but I'm not going to go any further, start filming outside of people's houses and invading their privacy, so we'll just leave it at that.
So things obviously reach a boiling point. Mia's very hurt, ends up kidnapping Connor's daughter and leading her to the water's edge. They get into a fight. She ends up throwing the little girl into the water only to retrieve her and save her, drop her back off home, and for Connor to track her down in a field, chase her down and give her a slap.
So our final location for Fish Tank is a venue, world famous, well, certainly an Essex famous venue, called the Circus Tavern here in Purfleet. And the Circus Tavern, I will show you, is a very well known venue, holds about 1,000 people, and they've done boxing events, and they used to hold the world darts. They used to hold the world darts every year, a televised event. I think that finished in about 2009. But the Circus Tavern is the venue for Mia's audition for her dancing. And of course, what we know is that it's an exotic dance, and she hasn't really planned for an exotic dance. It's more of a, I think it was Womack and Womack was the song that she danced to. But she doesn't know that. I don't know whether Connor knew it. So what we see is, I don't know how she got here. Someone dropped her off, because it's on, this is the old A13, which was a motorway from the centre of London, the city of London, all the way into to Southend. And what we see Mia coming over, getting ready for her audition, going into the Circus Tavern for her audition. It's not open. If it had been open, I would have asked if we could go inside and film inside as well. But she comes into the Circus Tavern for her audition.
And of course, the audition's a bit of a fiasco. She soon realises it's for exotic dancers, and that's really not what she prepared for. So she goes off, catches up again with the gypsy boy, who basically tells her the horse is dead and he's moving to Cardiff, and does she want to go? Which, perhaps understandably, with everything that's gone on, she does. Packs her bag, with her sister looking on, kind of reconciles with her mum. They have a dance, her mum and her sister at the end. And then the closing shots is her sister waving a goodbye. Say hello to the world for me, her sister says. And the very last scene is this love heart balloon floating up into the sky. Who knows where it would end up? And that was it, Fish Tank. So shooting locations in and around Thurrock. Again, for Fish Tank, which, as I said, is a film I highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, then I'm sorry if I've spoiled it for you, but please do give it a watch. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to the channel, giving me a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell, and I'll let you know when I upload another video. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves.